turn on your cameras, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. Welcome. I am calling to order the May, June. Here we go. Holy moly, guys. The June, whatever today might be, third Public Art Committee meeting at 4:35. Calling everybody to order. Thank you all in the gallery for being online and your cameras on. We have quorum, and I'm going to ask if there are any public speakers. Okay, no public speakers. Let's move on to the approval of the April 1st meeting minutes. I hope everybody had a time to review these. This was a very exciting day because we had 11 out of 11 people present. So that was fantastic. Anybody have any questions? Can I have a motion to accept these minutes? Thank you, Vicki. A second? Cassandra? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Great. This passes. Second, we have a recommendation of the list of the new selection panelists for the Office of Arts and Culture Public Art Review Panel. As you all might remember, this is a constantly rotating list, and so we take new submissions throughout the year. This was in your packet, this list of 5.
Item 2.
Yes. That's what we have. It's voting item 2.
Second page. Okay.
But I can't turn that.
Okay, can we go to selection panelist?
Well, that's voting. Do you want to do something first? We just,
The donation.
except this is, I'm going in order.
You should go in order.
This is the order. This is the order. I'm following the order of this. So we're going to do this to knock this out. So do I have a motion to approve this list of nominations?
Keep going. There we go.
Great. Can everybody see those? And they weren't in the packet. And there's a second, there's a voting item number 2, attachment 2 that you had. Okay, I had a motion. And a second. Okay, we're good. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Can I ask one question on this? This item has passed, but Kim Markham, Dallas Gallery Director, what gallery? Jason. Yeah. Jason Marchin? Oh, okay. Yeah, I would love to know, but I mean, she passed.
She was one of the people we met.
Great. For those who didn't hear it, that she is a gallery director in the, I don't know if they can hear it. Can you hear in the gallery? Oh, forget it. Sorry. Okay, we're going to move on to voting item number 3, which is the recommendation in support of accepting a donation of Always in Gear by George Tobolowski to City Council District 12. And the donation of artwork is also on the screen, what the piece looks like. There's also voting agenda item number 3, a separate document that was emailed to everybody that I hope people had a chance to review, including a timeline on here. So can I have a motion to accept this item? Yeah. No, there is.
Any other commentary?
Well, usually we just take a motion in a second, then we have the commentary, but that's fine. No, that's fine. Let's answer the questions now since they were asked.
Madam Chair, point
Yes.
of order, you were correct. It's
Yeah.
You make a motion, then second, then there's discussion.
Yeah. So, okay, let's make a motion because then we can overturn that, go backwards, but a motion? You don't have to move if you don't want to. A second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Cassandra's question was, is there any other items by George Tobolowski in the collection? And I believe the answer is no.
Can I provide a little context?
Please.
I would like to provide a little context from this. So we were contacted by the councilwoman in Council District 12 who, through the fire chief, who would like to accept this sculpture, that's, will be painted to match the logo and theme of the fire station, and also has some gears that are to recall the engines, the fire engines. It is, when we discussed this with the councilwoman and council office, one of the things that she mentioned is that this is a very walked area. There is a Jewish school nearby, and it is walked because of that kind of religious content. George is a sculptor of prominence in that community, and he is a Dallas artist of which we have no artwork. And he is currently preparing all things to make this artwork go in place. The foundation, the installation are all being borne by the artist.
So do we have some guidelines for people that decide that they want to give us things like this?
We,
Because I don't, my question was, in line with, not just him, anybody.
we
Now
do.
open the door with just that.
Well, one of the things, this is our committee here, but there are specific guidelines in the ordinance that I will call up right now to help bracket what that criteria are. And, you know, one is to encourage local artists. The other is to have a diversity in collection. So let me pull the ordinance up. And this was part of what Guy put together. That we voted on, not the George Tobolowsky, but the actual donations to the city art collection that we put together, that's in the new document that more or less you produced. That everybody helped produce it, but it wasn't there. So that's what you're pulling up, right, Lynn? I'm actually pulling up the ordinance. Okay. If you want to pull up the loan documents. Yes, why everybody's pulling up. Yes, Vicky.
So I guess my concern primarily has to do with the fact that if we have no Dallas artists in our collection, and this is going to be so-called the first,
No. He is a Dallas artist of which we have none of his work.
oh,
We
none
have
of his work.
Right. Like, we have lots of Dallas artists in our collection.
Well, that's
A
what I
lot.
thought, because I mean, we got
No,
Brad and we
don't
got,
have any George Tobolowskis. We have plenty of Dallas
But-
Thank you for
artists.
clarifying. Yes.
but, okay.
And so this is that we have to have, I guess I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, is that,
What is that we have to have?
We do not, so
are we just doing this because it's a political move? Because that's what I want to know.
Thank you for asking that question. I would say that, no, I would say that it came forward in that process through both the council and the fire station. There is no artwork in the fire station. This council district does not have a lot of artwork. I think it has 2 pieces.
Yes, because one of their pieces then became my piece.
Yeah.
And then one of my pieces became 10 or something.
So this is an area that does not have a lot of cultural property art. And so this is another way to have additional art locations that people can experience through foot traffic, et cetera.
And the
So,
fire chief wanted it.
yeah, so there are multiple people who are interested in having this in that location. So if we're talking about the community was supporting this as a donation.
Mm.
And I am going to pull up the ordinance and tell you what those words are.
And I guess the other question I have then is, and in terms of our responsibility for maintenance,
That's part of.
that
Yes,
was
so-
what I would
so
like to
it
know.
will
Excellent question. Yeah.
Thank you. So it will be maintained both by the fire department and then by the Friends of that area, council office.
The council.
So we don't have any responsibility in there.
No.
Okay. Yes, they're doing well.
So we would say 0 cost to the city.
No, I know him, so.
Can I ask a follow-up to that, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So that is, so since we are not responsible for the maintenance, but we are taking it on as part of the collection, what does the maintenance agreement look like for this piece? What is the schedule? When will it be maintained? And if something should happen to it, um, since I know Guy overlooks the collection, but if something should happen to the piece, does it look like, well, Guy lets the responsible parties know that they need to address the piece, or is there a certain amount of money set aside for the maintenance? What is that? What does the agreement look like, and how and what is that like?
So this contract, because there is a maintenance clause embedded in the way we receive things according to the 2018 cultural plan, it will have to go to council. So there will be a specific call out for how the maintenance schedule. It is also part of our collection documents. So the donation documents, there is a detailed plan for how maintenance should occur and what products need to be used, and what is this, and if something catastrophic happens, it is in the public art collection, and we will take care of it. It is actually raised above grade. It's, I don't know, 6 feet above grade. It's got a light on it from the fire station, so it's going to be hard for a car to run into it. Like, it's actually in a fairly safe location.
Yeah, there's a retaining wall that goes around the whole fire station, with the exception of their entrance. So it's, it's in a nice, secure location.
Yeah, I believe all of that, but I'm more concerned about the technicalities of the maintenance. So, like you said, if something catastrophic happens to it, and it's up to the Public Arts Committee to address it, where in our budget or how in our budget is that money allocated in order to address those damages?
So the Public Art Committee does not have to worry about maintenance. Guy does. So that's one. We are given an allocation every year, and if there is an emergency, our collection is actually insured. So again, something catastrophic, it can be taken care of through the insurance policy, but otherwise, it's up to Guy's maintenance schedule. You want to speak to that?
I'm still learning the maintenance schedule.
Yeah, and can you speak, Guy, could you speak specifically to what that allocation is every year, and how is that divvied up as we increase the number of pieces that are in the collection, please?
Yeah, so we just requested more additional funding for budget, but there's about 240 in the budget to do maintenance and conservation work. There's certain pieces that are priority pieces that get done monthly almost, or every 2 months, like the Henry Moore, the Freedmen's Memorial. And then the other ones, we just kind of be proactive and go, like we were at Fair Park 2 weeks ago conducting a tour, and we realized that Wolfus is in pretty bad shape now. So I'll send a conservator out for that too. But so sometimes it's reactionary, but there is a maintenance matrix and conservation matrix that we have. Lynn's got one. I had one at Love Field for just the pieces out at Love Field as well. So
I'm gonna add to that really quickly. So we evaluate the collection. There is a priority rating from 1 to 5 on each object, so that we are addressing both the things that are critical for that year, and then adding on to the workload of things that are going to hit that one, and then they kind of rotate to the back. But I do want to make sure that it is very clear that the maintenance of this object has been kind of guaranteed by someone else. So we also have partners that help us with funding maintenance. So like Carpenter Park, both the Irwin and the John Carpenter those are funded by Parks for Downtown Dallas. So we have partners in our conservation kind of budget as well. And then did I answer everything to make it clear?
Yes, and yes, you did. And I have one more follow-up to that just because it was mentioned. Like, so for example, this fiscal year we had 240,000, it sounds like, for the allocation, and there's a different rating for priorities. Do we have to spend that money in each budget, or does it roll over to the next fiscal year?
Nothing rolls over.
Nothing rolls
Zero
over.
base budgeting, yes.
Okay. And what happens? So
Yeah,
if we
so we
don't,
want to
if we
spend as
don't
much as we
spend,
want.
so if we don't, so right, so if we don't, how much more did we, how much more did we ask for the next fiscal year, Lynn
That's a guy question.
I don't
or
remember.
Guy?
I mean,
Okay, all
'Cause
right.
Lynn
Well,
Lynn was off when I actually got pulled in to do the budget
Yeah,
for
let's
it.
send that out to
But
the
I can
committee.
find
Let's
that.
not wait till August. If we could send that out
Sure.
ahead of time, that would be really
I can
great.
go
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
numbers.
That's something, those type of things I think is good
So-
for us to know about.
That request was just a request too. It's got to go through Martine to get approved.
Mhm.
So there, but I can certainly follow up with that and find out.
And since it doesn't roll over, what happens to the money if we don't spend it?
We spend it.
it gets spent or reallocated. So, and we're kind of in the thick of budgeting. So, but thank you for asking about the care of the collection.
Yeah, so my question, if it's already installed at the fire station, why are they wanting to put it in the collection?
Right.
It's not.
It's,
It's
oh,
not
it's not,
installed.
oh,
No,
okay.
it's not
okay,
at all.
I thought it was installed, okay, so that makes a big difference in my question.
A follow-up on that question. If we do not accept it as City of Dallas into our collection, are they going to install it anyway?
We do not, we have not, asked that question. Probably, my guess, would it become a long-time loan for the fire department? I mean, I think that there's a will to have this in that location, but I do not have a positive, firm answer on that.
And we can take it to a vote if there's no more questions. I would like to say that whatever your personal opinions are of this piece or not this piece, this is an area that does not have a lot of public art. This has been asked by both the person who runs the fire station, that specific location, and the councilwoman. It's a lot of people in the general area who are walking by will see it, but it's not in the middle of a park. And I would like us to think about those things, especially for those of us who live in districts that do not have a lot of art. When somebody wants art in their community and it's not offensive or terrible, like I'm trying to use the right words here, and I think we do need to consider that.
And I have two more things to say. One is, this is zero impact to we are not using bond dollars, like it is zero impact to our project budget. But here, this is the quote straight from the ordinance. The establishing long-term or policies and guidelines to ensure the long-term collection of artwork by the city that represents a broad range of artistic school style tastes and media without giving exclusive support to anyone, and gives consideration to affirmative action. That's straight from the original ordinance. So, consider, and I can pull up the cultural plan too, if that will be helpful.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. The artist, his name's, what's his name again?
George Tobolowsky.
George Tomilowski. What is his history? I know because we don't, like you said, we don't have any of his pieces. What is his relationship to the Dallas art scene? That it would kind of be an honor to take on some of his work into the public collection.
Does somebody else want to answer that?
I would say he's a working artist in the city of Dallas and has been a working artist for the entirety of his career.
Okay.
He,
All right.
What? He's an attorney.
well, he doesn't practice law though, but I mean, he was a CEO of a company. He works closely. I mean, he was a CEO of a company he was a Blockbuster. I mean, come on, a long time ago, but he has a strong relationship with James Searle. Like he has other artistic relationships or relationships with other artists of note that are important artists. He is represented by a gallery. People do collect him.
Okay.
Well, nice. See this conversation when this comes up again.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Argue about the piece. We would be saying, where does it say that we have to take everybody's art?
We don't. That's it. And you guys can vote to not take it.
So if the community wants, and if the community wants it, then we're responding to the community. That's the way it should be.
That's what I just said, right?
It's just like if, if somebody wanted a particular piece in South Dallas because it was into that community. The community said, we want this.
Right. So I think that, Guy, did you pull up the part that talks about this? Because I think this is really important. It's a great point. So
And we're sure the community wants this and not just.
I'm going to trust my staff on this one, but.
Can,
Okay.
Yes,
can you can you just repeat into the microphone, what Vicky was saying? I was catching bits and pieces.
Have mic on.
Oh,
Thank
So
you.
what I was saying, Lee, is that why we can't just say this is something the community wants. And as long as we're, certain that the community, that it is the community that wants this, then this is what we were responding to, which is, there are times when there's public art that gets put there because it's, a competition and blah, 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 and everybody come. And then there are times when a community says, we want this piece of work for this reason, and we respond to that community specifically. So that's what I think, that's what this is.
And can I?
Thank
read
you.
it For the record. So I just want to read, this is again, from the cultural policy from 2018, specifically about donations and loans of work of art. So here is what our role or this body's role is. The city of Dallas encourages donations and loans of works of art in the public places. When gifts or donations of major artworks are proposed for placement within the city agency or department, the proposal shall be reviewed by the Public Art Committee, the Arts and Cultural Advisory, and this policy shall apply to works proposed for long-term loan to the city. And the objectives of this policy are to maintain a high standard of works displayed in the city, to vest in a single city agency the responsibility for ensuring the management and maintenance of the city's public artwork, to facilitate planning for the placement of artwork, and to provide appropriate recognition of artists or donors of the artwork to the city, and then provide conservation and maintenance plans and the funds for that. So that, and I can send this out to y'all if you.
which
that.
in this case, we do not have to provide because it's already written in there how that conservation and maintenance will take place.
It is provided, correct.
More questions, comments? This side of the room? Okay, take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, I need hands. 1, 2, you don't, do what you want. 1, 2, great, okay, opposed? Anybody abstaining? Great, motion passes. Okay, moving on, Guy, we're gonna go to the update of conservation and maintenance.
So just a quick update or briefing. We need to look at the procurement. We did the evaluations for with a team of people that ranked all of them. So we're reviewing the list of conservators and what the rankings are for them, and then we will go out to award the different conservators. We got some new conservators on the list. We have some that are been on the list before. So hopefully we'll have this reviewed and it will put this out for award so that we can actually do some more conservation work. Because right now, all of our conservation things are expiring or running out of funds on them, in them too. So just a quick update on that. Hopefully we'll have some good news by August, since we're out on July.
Great. Can I ask a question then to follow up on what Hassani had asked about last year's budget? I would be curious just to see this year's budget in, how much, what percentage as of, I don't know, we're more than halfway through the year since the year ends in 5 months and 4 months, of how much we've spent and how much more we need to spend and how we're going to spend down that fund to make sure that nothing goes unused.
Sure.
I think that's a great point, Hassani, and for us to not monitor it, but just make sure we can help you with that if there needs to be, to make sure that every dollar is used.
Okay, there is challenges with this.
I'm sure there are. So if we can help in any
Yeah.
way and we understand the process.
City attorneys are one of the challenges because they're not used to seeing, they're used to seeing widgets, and this is not a widget. These are
Right.
services, and so it sometimes throws them off. So we're still waiting for some other contracts. We want to hire a company to help do a case study for the Esperanza district that we're still waiting for city attorneys to sign off on it. So it is challenging for us, but we can certainly,
Yeah, because what I would like to know, so for instance, Esperanza is my district.
Yep.
So I have a councilwoman who's terming out, but I'm going to call her on the way home and perhaps say, she needs to get this through before she terms out. Like, that's not okay that it's still sitting there. It's been sitting there for months.
yeah, and when this one we thought was going to be easier
It
because
should
we're
be
doing,
easy.
we're doing an interlocal agreement with another contract. So we're literally piggybacking off somebody else's contract to award this. And and every Friday I send an email, follow-up email saying what's the status, but yeah.
I will say it was 240 days. It was taking 240 days to go to contract for conservation contracts.
It's not okay.
But we do have, I'm going to show you this. It's very Lynn. You can't see it.
Don't show
Anyway,
this.
but we know by object, by year, how much is spent. So we can tell you, and as you would imagine, there are like really low maintenance things. And then there are some that, we're spending a lot of dollars on. So I'm also happy to share this. We'll get it updated
Right.
and send it to you.
And again, I can't speak on behalf of everybody on the committee, and we don't want to overstep where the staff is doing your job, but if you're not getting answers and you need help specifically in certain districts, that's what we're here to help do.
This procurement package will assist us because then the conservators are on call. And so when there is a reactionary incident, we can immediately look at this and say, okay, it's a small bronze piece. This is who is qualified as a small bronze specialist. We call them up. So these packages help us get through. Some of the other challenging ones are the one-offs where we sometimes try to use local agreements or try to get 3 quotes. So there's different ways that we can procure services, but this package alone will help us speed that process up because they're already pre-approved. The contracts are already in place. We're just use as needed if needed.
Okay. Any more questions on conservation? I think this is a great conversation. Make sure that our collection is in good order and that the money that's allocated to it can be used effectively and can be used. Let's just make sure it's used, but effectively would be nice too. Okay, moving on to, I have to put glasses back on. That's it. Okay, so we're gonna go right on to updates on projects. And I guess whatever rolls on the screen first, somebody will talk.
So we had an amazing dedication event for the family at Pleasant Oaks. We had wonderful turnout. The artists felt very appreciated. The artwork felt very loved. Everyone was truly engaging with it as it was meant to be engaged with. I know that we've had and received stories and from the recreation center staff that the community is already using it and had been already using it as benches, as sitting areas. So we are delighted to show you these pictures of our PAC members enjoying the artwork and also our ACAC members there in present and representing our team. So we're delighted that the family is now fully part of the artwork of the collection.
So this is another dedication we had the day before or the day after. We had two of them literally back to back. This is a private public partnership that we had with That They May, Inspired Downtown Dallas Inc., Inspire Art Dallas, Baylor Scott and White, as well as the Plaza of the Americas, because that's technically their sky bridge. So this is over by the Cancer Survivors Plaza that stretches across the sky bridge. It's a beautiful piece. Had a dedication there. Well attended too, and yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. But these are one of the very few partnerships that we're starting to work with and try to do more of these partnerships.
I'm going to add two things. One is it updates Cancer Survivor Plaza with actual information that is current about cancer and resources for residents and visitors to that area. And the artwork is actually for cancer survivor stories. And so it is turning at pivotal points in their lives. And they all four were present at the opening. And we got great press, again, thanks to our marketing team and to the artists. So there were some articles in the newspaper. But we hope to do more of this as we're reinterpreting spaces.
And I will send you the link to the Inspire Art Dallas website that actually has the cancer survivors stories on there as well too, because it's pretty fascinating. But it's embedded onto their website as well. So it's kind of nice to actually have, there's QR codes that can drive you to, so you can go look at the stories and stuff too.
Me again. So delighted to report that we are now fully in the artist selection phase for Old East Dallas Workyard Park. We had our first selection panel meeting 1 on May 21st, where we identified a short list of artists who will now be tasked with creating a site-specific proposal and be invited to present that proposal to the selection panel. I'm working on finalizing a date now. Hopefully this will happen in July to give them all ample time to prepare that presentation. And we're hoping to have, my plan is to have the finalists to you for recommendation in August. I don't have any pictures of dirt for you today, but I can report that every time I drive by, the pump house is under construction. So progress continues on the spray ground construction at that site and that location. So the project just keeps moving right along. Next, please. Walnut Hill. And so we are now engaging in community engagement phase 2 for Walnut Hill Recreation Center. And we were out at Walnut Hill's Extravaganza community event. I think there's a couple of pictures in the next one. It was a massive Easter event for the community. We were out there with all of the recreation staff, so many other organizations and community groups, vendors, everyone just was having a wonderful time. Our allergies were in full force and it wasn't just us. And then we had the opportunity, and I can let Adriana chat a little bit more if she wants to, about the inaugural public art loteria game, which, as you can see, was highly popular. We had games and prizes. It was overall, we were a hit, and we had really good community information gathering exercise during that event. So we suffered for it, we paid for it, but it was worth it. And Harry Stone, we are in the we're entering into the artist selection phase. We've got a planning timeline. We're hoping to post the request for qualifications in June and hopefully set up our selection panels later this summer into early fall, with hopefully having a finalist in October. This is a very ambitious timeline, but this is kind of what we're aiming towards and what we're targeting.
Okay, my turn. Natural encounter. I'm super happy to report that a puppy is being born right now. So we are in the puppy stages. We're fabricating. We have started invoicing. And if we go to the next slide, we see baby clouds. So the artist has been making mold clays of different cloud shapes, and she's been 3D printing them. And at the moment, they're evaluating how the weight contribution, how the whole stability of the whole sculpture works according to the engineering plans. So they're super cute. They're like 3-4 inches. And then next slide, please. And she's done another rendering. So I presume she's probably going to 3D print the dog as well. So that is where they try those different cloud types and cloud formations on to find the most aesthetically pleasing and balanced shape for it. But yeah, we're heading along. Trinity Strand in the design district, we're in community engagement still. So the survey is still active. We had a big community meeting on April 1st and office hour on the trail. And if we can have the next slide. We had a huge turnout for the community meeting. It was actually very nice. So our PID and the funders of a lot of the design district businesses, they made it the Virgin Hotel lobby available to us and the little coffee shop there. So this was the fanciest community gathering ever. I mean, look at that. We had the spring wreath there. Can you go back to the first one? So that's our poster with the QR code. I had a chance to introduce a new community tool, our wishing cube, where for those that cannot be bothered to fill in a survey, we're now doing give me 3 words, and they just drop 3 words in that cube. And that was actually very popular because a lot of people do not want to spend 10 minutes on a survey. They do not want to fill in question cards, but 3 words a lot of people gave us, so that was successful. And then there were a lot of questions. The attendees were all professionals. It was all designers. It was a few residents. It was a lot of artists there as well that were interested in the opportunity. Councilman Narvaez was in attendance and spoke as well. So it was an excellent turnout. It was really, there were very interested parties and a lot of feedback. Yeah, very. Singing Hills, super excited about this one too. So we had the ACAC recommendation on March 20, COLAG passed in April, and just this past week we had the council resolution go through on May 28th. So we're now at the moment, I'm drafting up, you can show the piece as a reminder. Next slide. So this is the piece that Anaisa Franco will build for us. At the moment, I'm working with her on establishing a payment schedule that will go into the contract, and then the contract goes before our city attorneys and then will be signed by the parties so that we can move forward into fabrication. She has a super ambitious timeline. She wants to be done by spring next year. I think she's a bit overambitious there, so we will see. My concern right now are the tariffs, because she uses a lot of metal. She uses a lot of polycarbonate that's fabricated abroad. So we will see how this plays out. But at the moment, we're in contracting.
Maybe that's a good reason
To speed up.
to encourage the city attorneys to speed this up
Yeah.
before these tariffs go into effect.
So we will see how it goes. But
Just a
yeah.
thought.
Forest Green, we had an excellent response to the RFQ. I had 159 applications. So sadly, we just talked about this earlier because Forest Green has beautiful limestone walls. A lot of artists saw that big wall. It said for outdoor sculpture. We had a lot of muralists apply. But their effort is not wasted because we're going to make a separate list of muralists and use them, get them to apply in other calls. So the selection panel is in progress and we're having round 3 of selection on June 5th. That's this Thursday. If you would like to attend 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. and we will select 3 finalists that will be commissioned to do a design proposal. Vickery Park also in artist selection stages right now. So the RFQ has closed. The deadline was May 15. We had, I want to say I forgot how many applications, but again, we had a good number. I think 158. I showed it to you, 100, something like that. So again, same number, 150 something applications. This time, a lot of muralists were very welcome because that's what we want there. We want a mix of wall sculpture and murals. So we looked over the entries. I think we've got very qualified candidates there. So I'm not concerned about this at all. And round 1 of the jurying is in selection right now. And I hand over to S.
Cool. You can go to the next slide. So as you can see, they are making significant progress on the Bear Street portion of the gates. It's super vibrant, and you can go to the next slide too. So these are the 2 that we've got so far. Like I said, super vibrant. It looks amazing out there. It has been raining a lot though, so thankfully it hasn't delayed any painting, but we have had to keep that in mind as the artists kind of go in and out. Hopefully they should be all done by the end of June, and then we can start planning a dedication. That probably won't be until the fall just because it is so hot out here. But we'll see. But yeah, everything's on schedule. It's looking amazing. I definitely suggest you drive by if you have a chance. Okay. And Tipton Park, I actually just met on site with Peyton, the lead artist. She came down here all the way from Kentucky and had a great time in Dallas, by the way. So I went out there with Peyton as well as Laura Johnson, the project manager on the park side, and India from the forestry department. You can go to the next slide. And not very visually exciting to you all maybe, but very visually exciting to me. So everything has been staked out. Peyton met with the folks who are going to install the concrete pads, and I'm currently connecting with them to ensure that we have a nice tight schedule because the park department is installing a new pavilion, which means they're going to be doing a lot of demo in that area. But so far so good. It looks like there's no water lines or electric lines that we need to worry about. The pavilion's going to be ripped out of the ground on the other side of this, so we don't have to worry about that either. And they're going to go ahead and take down some of these dead trees for us too. So all in all, pretty great. The pavilion on the park side should be done and installed, I think by December, and so should Peyton's work. So again, very ambitious timeline, but I think we can stay on track. Next slide. I think I'm still going. Okay, Bachman Lake Skate Park. This has been a really fun one. We've had a lot of delays in being able to get the funding from the park department side, which has been kind of a bummer. So I've been working with the artists on trying to plot out some alternate timelines in case we can't get this contract up and running in essentially 2 weeks. We initially planned for her to start installing mid-June, but like I said, we just got the funding a couple days ago, so I'm trying to rush as many departments as I can as quickly as possible. So I think if we can't do this June, we're probably going to do fall, maybe a September date again when it's less hot. And the weather is a little less volatile, but she's fantastic. She's very flexible and, very on top of everything. So I am keeping my fingers crossed for this one. There was an official skate park opening a couple weeks ago. it was very well attended, so I'm pretty hopeful that once we have everything installed and we have our dedication, it will be equally well attended. All the skaters in Dallas from age like 5 to 50 are super excited, and Adriana and I went out there, and Lynn and Guy as well. And I mean, there was like little kids, there was older folks who had skated there when the clown ramp was the big thing in that area. So yeah, it's going well as long as we can get everything expedited in time. So okay, major updates for the Sidewalk Poetry Project as well. We are currently working with Lindell Singleton and his crew to film some promotional material as well as instructional material for this project tomorrow at the South Dallas Cultural Center, actually. So Mag Gabbert, the poet laureate, will be kind of verbally going over the instructions on how to create this poem and the requirements for the piece. Once that's done, we're hoping to have it up and on the website by July, and we'll release the RFQ around that same time so that we can start collecting poems for this project. And again, if anyone has any literary friends, any connections, please send them my way. We want this to get to as many people as possible. And there's a ton of literary organizations in Dallas that I think will be super interested. So feel free to send me an email with anything you want to. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we may have talked about this, but I don't remember. What is the stipend that's being allotted to the artists who get selected?
I think we're thinking around 150, which is comparable to some of the literary journals when artists get selected or when poets get selected. So probably around 150, if not more. You can go to the next slide. And Willie B. Johnson, we had a great community engagement session. You can go one more slide, Gigi. Thank you. So we're working with Taylor Jefferson, who is the president of the Hamilton Park Civic League over at Willie B. Johnson. She's been a great resource. She's super helpful and super engaged. So this was the beginning of May 6th, I think. And Adriana and I went out there with posters and some merch. And again, we got a lot of participants who were both very young and very old, which was great. And we had the dot map up there to try and suss out what people want to see form-wise. We also pushed out the survey through Council District 10. We left posters with the QR code for the survey up at the rec center as well. And then the posters with the dot maps are also still up. So we're going to pick those up soon, but we wanted to give them some time to have other people just come across it and also add their thoughts. We're also interviewing Taylor as well as a couple of other community members on who are very involved. And we got their names from Council District 10, and hopefully they'll have some good info to share too.
If anyone's speaking, I can't hear.
We're moving on to community engagement.
Oh, okay.
All right, so yeah, we've been working with the different community engagement opportunities. Like Drema said, we were able to participate in this Easter event at Walnut Hill, inaugurating our loteria or bingo based on like images from our works from the collection. They were also kind of, I think they were the same ones that I used for the baseball-like double sided bilingual cards created for Reverchon Park. So we're gonna try to just rotate these materials because I think they are interesting looking, but also they are a learning device. We heard about this kid that was playing with us Loteria, remember, Roma? He said, oh, I remember this piece. I know where this is. So he was able to connect his background knowledge with something that visually made sense to him. So this kid played in his soccer league at JC Zaragoza, so he was able to, visually connect that. So that is the whole purpose of creating all these materials, not just to entice our audience to give us something, because we're asking them for something. So it's like an exchange of goods. So we are providing them with opportunities to participate with us, but we are basically asking them to give us information of why is art relevant in their lives and what they would like to see. And we're also finding that the different locations have different needs. Like, for example, the activity we did with Sabine for Trinity Strand was completely different to what you have to plan for in one of these more family-oriented events. So these are all like really great opportunities because we are catering to our audience, trying to be mindful of their needs and the ways they would like to participate with us. So this is just an ongoing project. So thank you for participating. If you're out there and if you hear something that you would like us to try or maybe incorporate in our toolkit, that'll be great. Let us know.
He wants just to go through.
Yes.
Just get to the,
No, let's go through this. If these aren't in the packet, we need to.
well, there are no significant. You're right.
Right.
didn't-
We need to,
Yeah.
yeah. If people have questions on either one, we just need to go through and ask people if they have questions, or you can just scroll through them.
Gigi, you can just scroll through.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions along the way, please stop, ask, okay? It's kind of fun just to see them like this, right? Okay, before we go to looking ahead, I do want to ask the staff and want to kind of talk about this. I do have one thing in the chair's report, and that's kind of World Cup. So World Cup starts less than a year from now. And as we talked about the other day, well, for those of you who don't know, I mean, we all know that World Cup is here, but the International Broadcast Center will be here. And those broadcasters could be here up to like 4 to 5 months beforehand, which is like in a few weeks, not really, but there are a lot of pieces that, as I think you used the word ambitious timeline, the two words ambitious timelines, that are ambitious timelines, but it would be great if, and you guys, and I know the staff can't control how fast some of these happen, we know that, but if there are things that we can do to help this, I think that the city, I would hope, wants to look as great as they possibly can, and by having a nice array of new art and all art, and specifically for journalists being able to know about that art and access that art is just going to be better for the city as a whole. And it's certainly what, as an art committee, public art committee, we want. So just things to be conscious of as people, both committee members and staff, think of things. And if you need our help moving things forward or cleaning things up or whatever, let us know. Right. Okay. Looking ahead. Wait, let's go back. Sorry. Back, sorry. Nope, one more. No, forward, where it says looking ahead. There we go. So there's no meeting in July. I'm thinking nobody has a conflict in August. There's nothing. Will you be in town still? Yeah. You know. Okay, well, I can't worry about that. August, when people are out of town. She's like ready to kill me. Yeah. Okay.
And we can move it to any day since nobody's gonna be here on that Tuesday after.
It's not the Tuesday after Labor Day. Labor Day.
No, I know, I moved it.
You just moved that.
I moved it, or because the Tuesday after
Got
Labor
it.
Day is hard.
Got
So
it.
it could be whatever.
Do we want to move that to the 16th of September? No, that's a Tuesday. The commission meeting will be a Thursday. It'll be the 18th. Do we want to move it? Do other people have conflicts on the 9th? Okay, well, we'll talk about that, make sure that we can have this room and everything we need, and we can talk about that. But those are the other meetings if anybody has conflicts or we know of anything. There's no election on the 4th, correct? Or is there any elections in this, on November 4th? It is an election date. So we need to look into that. I don't think there are elections,
I don't think so, but
but I don't, we'll double check. Okay, awesome. And then, I know we've talked about some dedications and whatnot, so as those come up and there's a plan, we'll send those out too. And does anybody have anything else? I have nothing else. Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 5:30 exactly. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here online. We appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.